Hey, Rhett taught me how to turn my camera on my phone just by putting my hand up. Uh-oh, will that turn it off? No.
No.
Hi, guys. It's Rhett and Kate and Carol and Toby. I'm going to give you the answers to my 5 myths and my 5 truths. I was going to ask Rhett to answer them, but he didn't really want to. Although, the first...
Oh, and Molly.
And Molly. Well, hey, Molly's out and the tripod's out. The first statement, the first fact about me was I was the first paper boy in my town that was not a boy. Is that true or false?
True.
True. Number 2, I delivered the Amarillo Daily News, which is a large paper, and the Albuquerque Journal, which is a large paper. And on Sunday, those papers were so heavy. I had 2 canvas bags I put on my handlebars on my bicycle. And I don't know what those weighed, but they weighed more than, each one weighed more than me, I'm sure. Because you know how thick Sunday papers are, and these are from larger cities. Oh, it was awful. Number 2, I absolutely love seafood.
False.
That's
completely
false.
Biggest false in the world.
That's right. I don't like fish. I'll eat tuna fish sandwiches, and I'll eat fish sticks if I absolutely have to. And I like salmon, canned salmon cooked in salmon patties. We like that, huh?
Yes.
But otherwise, I don't want nothing to do with anything that's been in the ocean. No fishy anything. Fact number 2. I once won a blue ribbon at the county fair for a chocolate vanilla swirl pound cake I made in a bump pan.
I actually know this, yes.
Yes, I did win one. And I was so excited. I mean, this was the first ribbon I'd ever won. And I showed my brother-in-law, and he said, I have to give it to somebody. Ruined my blue ribbon for me. When I think blue ribbon, I think of him saying that to me. People, don't say ugly things to people. If you can't be kind, just shut up. And I seldom say shut up. I usually say hush, but be kind. Number 4, I am a great swimmer.
No.
No, I can't even float. I'm going to stick a picture in here, and I'll tell you about it. This is the only proof there is that I ever was anywhere close to a swimming pool or had on a bathing suit. But this was a beautiful pool. That is the picture of the swimming pool at the 5 Mile Park outside of Tucumcari, New Mexico. At the time, back in the 60s, it was advertised as the largest swimming pool in the Southwest. It was beautiful out there. It was really beautiful. And somehow, my mother decided to send me for swim lessons. I was excited because you got to ride the school bus from the elementary school that was a couple of blocks from my house. I could walk up there in the summer and catch the school bus, and it would take us out there for swim lessons. The odd thing about that is my mother was terrified of water. Honestly, until the day I got married and left her house, she would not let us have more than like 3 inches of water in the bathtub. I swear, like 3 inches. I mean, we didn't have a shower, we had a bathtub. There were 2 big lakes, one on the northeast, one on the northwest of Tucumcari, 2 big lakes, and people drowned in those lakes every year. And she was scared to death of water and instilled the fear of God of water into me and my sister, and neither one of us swim. But that she let me go take swim lessons was a miracle. I don't know how that came about, but I did not learn to swim.
Probably so you didn't drown.
I know I didn't drown. My one of the 2nd grade teachers from my school was a swim instructor. A really nice lady named Mrs. Dowell. She's in that picture. She's the lady in the great big hat. But to pass the swimming, I don't know if it was 1 week or 2, you had to dive off of the low diving board, and I did that. I have absolutely no idea how. That's the last time I've been swimming, and I was probably 9 or 10. Number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think Rhett will know this, if this is true or false. I was extremely shy and would not talk to anybody that I did not have to until I was like 19 or so.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
You knew that? I was. First of all, I grew up in a house where if I heard children are to be seen and not heard one time, I heard it 50 gazillion trillion times. Go get Toby's ball so he won't bark. That was all I ever heard in my life. Children are to be seen and not heard. And as I've told you, I grew up with a very mentally ill father when they did not have any kind of medications. He was schizophrenic, and it was a scary childhood. And I did not talk. I talked at school, I guess, if the teachers asked me a question. But I can remember Rhett has somehow decided it's a good idea to adjust the camera.
Don't mind me.
I remember two things. When I was like a junior and senior in high school, I was dating the boy that became my husband and the father of my kids. We grew up in Tucumcari. We would drive to Amarillo on the weekend and stay with his brother of the Blue Ribbon fame and his sister-in-law, who was a sweet, both of them were nice people. I'm sure that was his dry sense of humor, maybe, I don't know. But those two people were very good to me throughout my married life. And as we, when I was a junior and senior, we would drive to Amarillo for the weekend and stay at their house and go do things like go bowling and stuff like that. They bought me my very first Big Mac when Big Mac first came out, and I did not like it then, but now I love them. But anyway, for my junior and senior years, I would go to their house maybe once a month to spend the weekend. Did not talk to them. I didn't say anything. That's how shy I was. But then when I was a senior, this boy in my high school, there were 120 kids in my graduating class. That's what size school it was. And the halls were really crowded at our high school, and as we changed classes. And one time this boy that I saw him, but I didn't know who he was. I knew what his name was, maybe. He was a year older than me. One time he stopped me in the hall as we were changing classes, and he said, "You are so stuck up. It's a wonder your nose doesn't scrape the ceiling." And I was shocked that somebody thought I was stuck up. I was just trying to be invisible. Children would be seen and not heard. And an invisible's even better. I just was trying to get through high school. I did not mean to be stuck up. We later dated. His name was Mike Smith. But I'm glad he said that to me, because that opened my eyes to the fact of how other people saw me, because I didn't talk to anybody. My nose itches. Every time I turn this camera on, my nose itches like crazy. And because he said that to me, it took me a couple of years, but I worked through that to become a friendly person who cannot shut up now. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I like to dance. No. I have 2 left feet. I never learned how to dance. I would love to be able to dance. There was this couple at our church when I was a grown-up. There's these my husband and wife, friends of mine, had 2 teenagers, and they could dance like the swing dances from the 50s. Oh, I love that. I wanted to be able to do that. I would love to be able to do country and western Texas two-step type dances. I would love to have had somebody who wanted to take me dancing. My brother told me, this was like, he died maybe 3 years ago, probably 5 years ago. I expressed to him how I wish I had never learned how to dance, because his wife did ballroom dancing. I don't know if my brother did it with her. They lived in Tennessee. I live here in Texas. we only communicated, my brother and I communicated while we played words with friends. I came from a horribly dysfunctional family. It's a long story. My brother moved out when he was 16 and put himself through the rest of high school and paid his rent at a really dumpy place. But he got out of our crazy house at 16, and that was the year I was born. So I never lived with him, but I thought the world of him. He joined the Navy, and he would send me boxes of stuff from around the world. And I wrote letters to him, and we had that kind of relationship. I saw him very few times in my life. I mean, to have been a brother. During my adult years, I bet I saw him 4 times from the time I was 18 until he died, maybe 4. But anyway, he told me you just have to practice. You can learn to dance, but I never have. But I wish I could, especially swing from the 50s, and oh, I love that. That was number 6. 7. One time I fell off the porch and sliced my foot on a coffee can. Red.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
He's got his head under the couch getting a ball for Toby.
Yes.
Yes. When I grew up, we lived in the little house where somebody did what I told you they did in the back bedroom. I truthfully was alone most of the time. My brother had moved out, joined the Navy. He was gone. My sister worked, I guess, every second she wasn't in school. I don't even remember her being at home, and we shared a bedroom. I don't even remember living with her at all. She left home when I was about in 4th or 5th grade. Don't remember her being in that house for any instance. Eating meals, nothing. This was the kind of place we grew up in. Get out of there. I was scared of her, though. My brother that was in the Navy sent each of us jewelry boxes from Japan. They were black, like enamel with Japanese scenes painted on them. Mine was flat, and you lifted it up, and there was a little ballerina that went around. It was probably, she was dressed in, not a ballerina, she was dressed in Japanese, you know what Japanese women dress up in. My sister's was tall and had a glass door that opened, and her lady that turned around to the music was inside that glass thing. I wanted that jewelry box so bad. But I knew better to ever say anything. And I did say something to her about 3 years ago. She said she would have given it to me, but my mother would have had a cow. My mother was livid because my sister sold hers in a garage sale about 40 years after that. But anyway, my sister had jewelry. And when I was home alone, I would go look in her jewelry box. But I looked with my eyes. I didn't touch. But she had this one bracelet that was, maybe it was sterling silver, maybe just, I don't know what. But back then, she graduated in 1964, and evidently everybody had charm bracelets back then. She had this bracelet that had all these beautiful rocks of some kind, like clear, almost clear looking stones of some kind. I mean, it could not have been anything expensive. We had nothing that was expensive, but it had the whole thing around the link bracelet. It was silver. Were these stones that hung down with a silver wire wrapped around them. That's how they were attached to this, and they were like light colors, like pink, like a pink, like maybe they were quartz. I don't know. Pink and blue and a green and an aqua colored, and I thought that was the most beautiful thing on earth. I wanted that so bad. But anyway, I digress. I don't even know what's the question here. Oh, I sliced my foot. Has nothing to do with the jewelry box. That's how I tell stories, huh?
Pretty much.
What I was telling you was I was alone most of the time. My dad was away in a mental hospital a lot. when he wasn't, I just stayed away from him as best I could. My mother was a waitress and she worked all day, and then when she came home and she sewed for people, sewed dresses for people, and she took in ironing and scraped by to support us. But basically I was by myself most of the time. And I remember this, I played out, I had a dog, his name was Cowboy, and he was a Boston Bulldog that somebody gave to us that raised dogs because he was a misfit. Where he was supposed to be black, he was white, and where he was supposed to be white, he was black. So basically he had 2 black circles around his eyes, which was really cute, but he wasn't, they couldn't sell him as a Boston Bulldog, so somehow somebody gave us that dog, and he was my best friend. His name was Cowboy. And but anyway, I played outside by myself a lot, and but this one time my mom happened to be home. It was in the evening, and I was outside. I remember distinctly, our yard was all dirt, and I mean, we didn't have grass. We were poor, and I was playing outside with my troll dolls. Do you guys that are my age remember those troll dolls? They were about this tall, and they had poofy hair at the top. I was outside playing with my troll dolls, and it started to rain. And we had this concrete back porch. It was just actually 3 steps. It wasn't a porch. It was 3 concrete steps. And I ran in the house because it was started to pour, and slipped on the wet concrete steps. And next to the porch, you're going to have to help Toby again. So he's found troll dolls to show you. Let me see. I want to show him. Are you showing? There you go. Yeah, that's what I had. Now help Toby so he'll quit barking. Quick. They've seen it. Anyway, what we had for a water bowl for my dog Cowboy was a Folgers coffee can, the squatty kind that was like that, and it was red metal with a silver ring around the top. Well, I slipped on that porch, and the heel of my foot hit that ring, which popped off. And I continued to fall my entire weight on that foot, and it just sliced down on the top of that coffee can because the rim had popped off. It was just like a razor, it was just like razor sharp. And I had to go to the hospital and get stitches. I bled like crazy all over the house. I do know my mom was home then. I probably would have bled to death. I mean, it was awful. She didn't drive and didn't have a car anyway, and so she had to call didn't call an ambulance. She called my aunt and uncle that lived in town, this is what a weird family we were. That aunt and uncle never visited us. I mean, I knew where they lived. They lived on the good side of town. We lived across the tracks. She called them to come get me. They came and got me and took me to the hospital, and I had to have stitches and have my foot sewed back together. So yes, I did fall off the porch and sliced my foot open on it was like boom, onto a metal razor sharp coffee can.
They can't see you going. She went
like that. And I had the scar. It may be faint now. I mean, I had this, my toes were up here, so the can went like this across my toes, and the rest around just above my heel. And that, you can see that scar for years and years. I'll have Rhett look at my foot and see if you can still see it. I can't bend around and see the bottom of my foot. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was number 7. Number 8 is I'm a really good singer and I love to sing.
Yes.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
You like to sing.
I do like to sing.
I never said you weren't a good singer.
I can't carry a tune in a bucket. I would love to be able to sing. Now I'm on pretty good terms with the Lord. I have argued with him about that. I have told him, look, of all the crappy things I've got, please let me be able to sing. Look, I would even just sing hymns if you would let me have a voice to sing. No. No, I haven't won that battle with him yet, but when I get to heaven, I'm going to sing like an angel. 9. The first car I had that I paid for myself was a Volkswagen Beetle. Do you know what a Volkswagen Beetle is?
Yes, and that is true.
And that is true, yes. It was a 1972 Super Beetle. It was the first year the windshields weren't flat. It curved out. It was a standard, because they only came in a standard. No air conditioning. That was the car I went to Arizona in the middle of the summer with no air conditioning. It was royal blue, and the inside was kind of gray. And, oh, I love that car. But when we bought, I was married at the time we bought it. We lived in Texaco, New Mexico, which is about 100 miles from Tucumcari. And my husband was in National Guard, New Mexico National Guard, and we had to go to Tucumcari to the armory for guard duty once a month for the weekend. And so we had bought this Beetle, this bug, and he drove it to Tucumcari to go to guard duty. And you know, how hard could it be to learn to drive a stick shift? Well, this happened to be the weekend that Tucumcari had a piñata festival. Every year in the fall they have a piñata festival. I don't know if they still do or not. But it was like a weekend thing with, you know, all kinds of activities and a parade. Well, in New Mexico, parades are big deals. I don't know if they are everywhere else. But, you know, that was something. And so I took my mother to the parade in my Volkswagen Beetle stick shift. And I didn't know how to shift. We rabbit hopped down to where we were going to park to watch the parade. Probably went early, because I always went to everything early. And then when it was over, you know how traffic after any kind of event, even in a small town, there's lots of traffic. Trying to get home and trying to learn how to shift and do the clutch at the same time. Oh my gosh. It was quite an experience. But I can drive a stick shift like nobody's business now. And my question is, why do drivers' education classes, I took driver's ed at school, why do driving schools, driver's education, not teach people how to drive a stick shift? Because anybody could learn how to drive an automatic. You know, why don't they?
It's automatic.
What?
It's automatic.
It's automatic. If you can read D to put it in drive, you can do it. Okay. Number 10. I love to dry camp.
What?
I love to dry camp. Like, I would like to go to the mountains and stay in a tent.
No.
No.
Never.
No. Never. That's right. I would like to go camping in the
RV.
Yeah, though his parents have had one. His grandfather has one. Everybody on that side of the family, my ex-husband's family, they all have fifth wheels.
No, I don't.
Huh?
We sold ours to.
Yeah, you sold yours to your cousin. Yeah, they don't have one right now, but I'm sure they'll have one again someday. But anyway, I would love to go camping in a fifth wheel where I could lock the door. I have to be able to lock the door. I would not sleep in a tent where anything could come in while you're trying to sleep. No, not me. I don't even know what dry camping is. Casey told me it was sleeping. It's in a tent where you don't have a fifth wheel with some running water and stuff. Yeah.
Dry camp is you pretty much
Pardon me.
use what you can find.
Well, anyway.
You bring a tent and the supplies you actually need to camp.
Your dad has a tent. Have you ever gone camping just in the tent?
Never once. We have this humongous tent that's pretty much the size of our garage.
Well, that'd be you've got a 3-car garage. That'd be a pretty big tent. I knew they had a tent because...
Well, as big as our 2-door one.
Oh. When Taylor was little, she wanted to go camping. Probably before Rhett was born, when she was like 3. She was 3 when he was born. And they lived out in the country. And so Brent bought a tent. My son bought a tent. And he and his daughter, Taylor, camped out in the backyard. That's how I knew they had a tent. Anyway, no, I would like to go lots of places in a fifth wheel, but camper in an RV, but I'm not getting in a tent. No, thank you. I'm afraid that bears will get in, and I know there is really a boogeyman in the shape of normal people that do ugly things. Like right now I'm watching the Alec Murdaugh trial. There are evil people in the world. And I'm not saying he's guilty of shooting his son and wife. I don't know if he did or not. I have a strong opinion. But he did admit to stealing millions from his friends in his law practice. But I won't even go there. I'll try to stay on the positive. But if you want to talk about the Alex Murdaugh trial, let me know. And after what I told you about that book, I couldn't read past page 105. That was because that was something that had something to do with me and experiences. I like true crime. I love to watch Dateline and 48 Hours and stuff like that. I like true crime. I'm very interested in true crime, but that's because I would never consider doing those things, I think, is why it's different. And I like to learn, how do people, what goes on in their mind? How do people, I won't be interested in the one where about the Ford. What?
You're getting off track.
Imagine that. I'm going to hush now. So, yes, it goes true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false. And I'm not going to post this until a couple of days and see what you guys guess. And there's no prize because I don't have money for postage and to buy anything that worth sending to somebody. So it just had to be a fun experience. Okay. I'll talk to you later. I'm filming this on Valentine's Day. We're about to have lunch. The day did not go like I planned because nothing ever does. But so we haven't done anything yet except make our plans. We went and picked up the kids, Casey and I, and now they've gone to get pizza for lunch because I didn't get the lasagna done. And then we're going to have pizza and Coke for lunch for Valentine's Day. And then we're going to do our salt dough conversation hearts like I showed you. Rhett is lowering the camera. I guess that means bye. See ya.